Who is behind the push to give Aurora's mayor more power? Is it Aurora's mayor? He's sure being squirrely about it. Denver gets funding to help migrants with some strings attached. And we're looking at how our reimbursement compares with New York and Chicago.
Basically, okay, now we put a stamp on it. We're the champions, we're number one.
Fans are streaming by with praise for the new Nuggets mural on Colfax, and one bit of constructive criticism. It briefly featured the wrong trophy. That was easy to fix. And Colorado's LGBTQ community has faced unimaginable pain since the Club Q shooting. But they want us to know they haven't gone underground, and joy remains. To celebrate Pride by supporting a pillar of that community tonight on Next. So there's an effort to make Aurora more like Denver. Hush-hush effort to give Aurora's mayor much more power, like Denver, where the mayor really runs the show. I say hush-hush because it's not clear who is behind this mayoral power grab. When our Marshall Zellinger asked Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman if it's him, if he's the one doing it, the mayor said we only get to find out if the issue qualifies for the November ballot.
As the third largest city in Colorado, Aurora runs differently than the top two. Denver and Colorado Springs have a strong mayoral system of government. Aurora is run by a city manager hired by city council.
The difference is who makes policy and who carries it out.
Sam Mamet is the retired executive director of the Colorado Municipal League. We asked him to simplify the difference between having a city manager-run government like Aurora currently has versus a mayor in control, which voters in Aurora could be asked to change to in November.
I think one of the strong arguments is you want to have one person directly elected and accountable to the citizens of his or her community to be able to control those appointments. The argument for a council manager system is that you want a professionally trained individual.
And that city manager has the ability to hire and fire anyone at will, and they never have to go in front of voters.
Tyler Sandberg is the spokesman for the group collecting signatures to put an issue on the ballot to give the mayor more power. It would also reduce term limits in Aurora. Sandberg, a former campaign manager for Congressman Mike Kaufman, would not say if Mayor Mike Kaufman is behind this effort.
He's supportive. I mean, he's the mayor, and this is going to improve the running of the city, but there are lots of people that are involved and supportive of this. It was actually the sudden retirement of the city manager that kind of pushed this to happen in this year instead of in the year or two.
Giving the mayor more power means the ability to hire and fire department heads, like, a police chief. Aurora's police department is working under a legal agreement with the state attorney general's office to improve policies and training. But it's the city manager and not the mayor who ultimately fired police chief Vanessa Wilson last year and has since hired 2 interim chiefs.
He's very clear. There is a lot of public controversy around the police, and it's an unelected bureaucrat who gets to decide what happens to the police department. Voters don't get to hold city leaders accountable because the person who runs the city is an unelected bureaucrat.
But they do, because currently the city manager is hired and fired by city council. So if voters don't like the city manager, they can make a change at city council. And always thinking of timeliness, Sandberg made a Nuggets type reference by calling that an indirect bank shot of accountability.
What explains the comically clumsy secretiveness about all of this? Why not just come out and be like, yeah, baby, give me that power. Let's do it.
I mean, Kaufman could serve 2 more terms currently under what currently exists. This would also change term limits. But yeah, what's the harm in saying, I know I could benefit from this if I'm behind it, and here's why. Because like he said, like Sandberg said, the city manager's out, so should you hire someone if you're considering changing this? Because big cities maybe should act like, I don't know. I don't know why the secrecy, but 3 residents have put their name on getting the petition out there, yeah. But it's kind of like, don't bother us until it qualifies. Then we'll all talk about why we efforted this in the first place.
It reminds me of the line in Congress that dogged Nancy Pelosi for years when she said you have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. Well, you can find out if I'm behind it if you put it on the ballot. Marshall, thank you. Denver police have 2 people in custody who are connected with the shooting in Lodo during the Nugget celebration. But we should note, neither charged with the shooting itself. All 10 people shot during what police say was a drug deal gone bad are expected to survive. Ricardo Vasquez is in court for the first time this afternoon. His attorney says he was shot in the hip and in the back. Vasquez and Raul Jones were both arrested at the scene. Jones was picked up in a parking lot where police say they found a gun on the floor of his car. Vasquez was stopped while running from the intersection. Police say he tossed a handgun on the ground. Neither was allowed to have a gun because of past convictions. The millions of dollars in federal reimbursement that Denver is getting for caring for migrants has some strings attached. And don't you know, they line up with the rules that Denver previously put in place for which migrants can get help here and for how long. The city has spent an estimated $18 million sheltering migrants. The Department of Homeland Security is now giving Denver $8.6 million, part of a grant program helping local governments across the country. DHS says the funding is meant to only help shelter migrants for the first 45 days after they have been processed by Border Patrol. Perhaps you remember, partway through the surge of migrants from the southern border that began in December, Denver put in place new rules limiting assistance to migrants who were processed by immigration and limiting their stays in shelters to fall in line with those federal guidelines. You should note DHS is also going to give the state of Colorado about $1.2 million for its costs. We look today at how our reimbursement stacks up with other places that have seen a lot of migrants. State and local funding in Colorado breaks down to about $857 for each of the 11,500 migrants who have been served by the city of Denver. New York has received a lot more migrants, about 67,000. They're also getting a lot more money, $104 million, so about $1,500 per migrant. Chicago and Illinois are expecting almost $30 million. With 10,000 reported arrivals to Chicago, that works out to almost $3,000 per migrant. DHS says the funding decisions are based on release and destination data. The destination thing might explain why places like Chicago and New York are getting so much more funding per person than Denver, because a lot of the migrants who have come through our city have told us they plan to go on to places like Chicago and New York. Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is citing the border situation as she launches her latest attempt to impeach President Joe Biden. Boebert's done this impeachment thing a couple of times. She claims that the practice of releasing migrants into the U.S. while they await court hearings violates federal law. That policy has been blocked by federal judges and is currently going through appeals. Last year, Boebert tried to impeach Biden for his handling of the U.S. withdrawal in Afghanistan. Boebert is the second Republican to introduce articles of impeachment against the president just this week. Tennessee Republican Andy Ogles beat Boebert to the punch on Monday. Since Elon Musk took over Twitter last year, he has been on a stated mission to cut costs. Think about your household budget. One great way to cut your costs would be if you just upped and stopped paying rent or your mortgage. And that apparently is what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter's office in Boulder. Denver Business Journal was first to report that a judge in Boulder let law enforcement officers evict Twitter from their Boulder location at the end of the month. The landlord who owns the offices on Bluff Street told the court that Twitter just stopped paying rent and failed to keep open a nearly $1 million line of credit that was the backup for missed payments. Court documents filed by the landlord claim that Twitter just ignored their requests for payment. It's not clear how many Twitter employees were left to be evicted in Boulder, because they laid off 87 people there last year, and then 38 more quit shortly after. The LGBTQ community in Colorado Springs was certainly strong before the Club Q shooting, the moment when a lot of people, let's be honest, inside and outside Colorado, learned that there was a thriving LGBTQ community in that historically conservative city. Since the mass shooting at Club Q, the city's other safe haven for that community has faced death threats and security challenges, but they've persevered. And that's why this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign, as we celebrate Pride Month, is supporting Inside Out Youth Services in the Springs. For decades, they've provided a safe space and one-on-one support for LGBTQ youth in the Springs, a place to find support, encouragement, and friendship as they help young people build access and equity and power within their community. Death threats after the Club Q shooting caused Inside Out to close their community center for a few months. They are now back open, with physical security on site and cyber security, things that they never anticipated needing for just a place where young people hang out, have fun. Inside Out told me that the last year has brought more hate than they have ever seen, and it has also brought more acceptance and support than they have ever seen. And they said that when allies in particular step up, it means everything. So here we go. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. As always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us started. Inside Out told me that support from allies makes them feel like they are not alone, even after the hardest year in their community's history. So thank you to each and every one of you who's going to help us send that message. You ask, we answer. Is all this rain paying off and filling Colorado's biggest reservoir? And Denver's beautiful new tribute to the Nuggets was missing something until today. That's next. Colorado's greener than it's been in a long time thanks to all this rain, but how's it helping our reservoirs? Viewers out in Ridgeway shot us a text to check on the state's reservoir levels, particularly Blue Mesa. All right, we'll take a look. So this is Blue Mesa Reservoir, our largest body of water in the state, at its lowest point ever in 2021. And here it is again last Tuesday. Isn't that remarkable? Photojournalist William Woody took these photos over a couple of years to show the contrast at Blue Mesa. According to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, Blue Mesa is now up to 7,505 feet above sea level as of yesterday. That is more than 84% full, highest that reservoir has been since 2019. It's not just Blue Mesa. For the Colorado reservoirs that the feds track, most of them are higher, fuller than they were at this time last year. There are actually only 2 reservoirs that are bucking that trend. Both are in southwestern Colorado. They're actually not far from the folks who asked the question in Ridgeway. So that, of course, is the good of the rain. Now the suboptimal impact. Stretch of Highway 7 in Boulder County was closed this morning by a rock slide. The road will be shut down at mile 23 as workers clear the boulders and debris that came down. CDOT just finished repairing damage to Highway 7 after the devastating floods of 2013. Those repairs took years to complete. CDOT told us it was, of course, the rain loosened up the rocks. They simply said it was an overload situation with wet weather. CDOT has tracked 5 major rock slides so far this spring. They said most years they won't necessarily get a single one. Danielle, those are, what would you call those? Large boulders, the size of large boulders?
I think that's
what San Juan County would call them.
I think so, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Those are serious. I mean, that's no joke to come in and break those up.
And that's going to take them some time, absolutely. We have seen so much rain, and around the Boulder area about 4:30, 2 hours ago, they had some pretty good thunderstorms push back in, more rain out there. For now, tonight, we're just looking at mostly cloudy skies. A lot of the thunderstorms still positioned up in the high country. As we zoom in here to the city, we have one tiny little storm that's just hovering across Highway 85, heading toward I-76 right there around the Brighton area. A rumble of thunder, a little bit of lightning, some heavy rain, and then it should be pushing off to the east. As we go throughout the next couple of hours, can't rule out maybe seeing 1 or 2 more quick showers push across the Denver metro area. And then look at this, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Mostly cloudy skies around the region. If you are heading out to the parade, I think Futurecast kind of overdoing it as far as the rain showers. I think there's going to be some pretty low-level cloud cover. I'll be keeping a close eye on it, however, throughout the rest of this evening. By 1 o'clock, still looking pretty quiet here in Denver, but more storms moving in by about 5, 6 o'clock. Fingers crossed they hold off and we can get the parade in without any kind of wet weather, but it is potentially going to be a little dicey. Temperatures around 10 o'clock out at Union Station when the parade steps off. Going to be sitting in the upper 60s, and again, it really looks like our best shot for seeing some stronger storms to push through will be after about 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, daytime highs back to the 70s, but lower 70s, a little cooler, and certainly with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. It's going to be another soggy day in the upper 60s for us on Friday. We bounce back to the low 70s on Saturday, Father's Day. Back to the low 80s where we should be. Seasonal for this time of the year, close to 90 on Monday, and we welcome in the summer season with highs in the mid 80s and plenty of sunshine.
The new Nuggets mural on Colfax was missing something shiny.
We won the championship, so now it's adding the trophy as well.
And it actually turned out to be a little more complicated than expected. Next. People have been making a beeline for Detour's latest work. One of Denver's best-known artists is creating a Mount Rushmore of Nuggets basketball at Colfax and Race. Thomas Evans has been working on this mural for weeks leading up to the Nuggets' first championship, and today he added a trophy.
I try to tell stories through the art that I do, so it's fun for me to sort of celebrate the Nuggets through the street art.
This is our first time. This is history right here.
Yeah. So this one I started a couple weeks ago, so I've just been on and off in between gigs.
And it's on national TV. It's so cool. I know. I every day now.
I told him. I said during the game, I said, you know, they flashed your mural on the game there. He said, yeah, I saw that. Everybody wants his picture too.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is always cool to see the little kids getting there. So the finishing touch will be the Larry O'Brien trophy that we have located here in Denver because we want it. No one else has it. we will keep it hostage for the next year, and then we'll keep it hostage for the next 5 years because we're building a dynasty. So that will be the final touch on this mural. Hey, good to see you, man.
Likewise.
It's been really, really fun just to sort of see everyone come through and have a conversation with me as I'm painting, because it's more about community than anything, and having, the whole city rally around the Denver Nuggets.
And do you want it this way or this way?
Yeah, the long way that way.
Okay.
It's really just having fun today, because people just been stopping by and having fun, taking pictures in front of the wall. So it's going to take a while to get this thing done.
You're going to be busy today. Oh, man.
Basically, okay, now we put a stamp on it. We're the champions. We're number one.
All right.
And now it's kind of like, let's do it again next season.
Mural is not quite done. Detour actually had to start the trophy part over again. Somebody kindly pointed out that he was painting the MVP trophy, not the Larry O'Brien Championship trophy. That is a very easy mistake to make. They look pretty similar. They're just kind of different sizes, slightly different. Anyway, Detour hopes to have the mural done in time for tomorrow's parade. Hey, if you're coming downtown for the parade tomorrow, come say hi to me at Civic Center Park. Parade starts at 10 o'clock near Union Station, ends with a rally at Civic Center Park. There will be live music and events at Civic Center starting at 9 a.m. as the crowd begins to gather. We, of course, will carry it all live on 9 News starting at 4:30 in the morning. Your feedback's next. What a statement about our world today, that Colorado Springs' LGBTQ community center needs security, but Inside Out closed its facility after the Club Q shooting. All of the national attention brought them death threats and cybersecurity issues. That nonprofit now has their headquarters back open, serving young people in the community who need a safe space, a welcoming place, a community that waits for them with open arms. And that's why this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign, as we celebrate Pride, is celebrating the resilience and the joy of the nonprofit Inside Out Youth Services. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me in supporting their work. They said more than anything, they want people to know they've not been driven underground and they are still joyful. Hey, before we get your feedback, heads up that next we'll be off the air for the remainder of the week because there's golf on 9 News. But that's all good because tomorrow morning I'm going to go down to the Nuggets parade. I may have found a gold and blue jacket. Maybe everybody's going to wear their gold and blue jacket. I don't know. But if you come down to the Nuggets parade at Civic Center, say hi. Maybe we'll even get on TV together. We've got a note here saying, Sandy says, I don't think that any of the Nuggets fans will mind the rain tomorrow. This is historic. I don't think they'll mind it at all. I mean, we were out there last year for the Avs parade, and the dark clouds were coming in. There was a little bit of rain or whatever else. Nobody left. It was all good. Everything was fine. As long as we don't have dangerous lightning or whatever, show will go on. Linda says, congrats, Nuggets, but I'm not going anywhere near downtown on Thursday. That's cool, too, Linda. That's why we're going to put it on the TV box for you. Starting at 4:30 in the morning, parade steps out at 9, big party at Civic Center at 10. So pop some popcorn and join us there. See you next time.